Hello, my name is Jacob Hornbeck, and my presentation is on local storage, and I'll be doing it with session storage as well. So, what is local storage? Local storage is a semi-temporary storage API that is available on nearly every version of all browsers. The versions where each browser begin using local storage is pretty low, and that means that the newer versions are most likely going to be compatible with it. Local storage is stored on your computer, and the exact location depends on the operating system and the browser that you are using. Whatever you store in local storage can be accessed as long as it hasn't been removed from wherever it was stored. And session storage is very similar to local storage, but session storage is completely temporary, or not completely, but more temporary than local storage, and your browser will clear it whenever it closes. And I did a little bit of testing, and I found out that session storage can only be accessed in the exact tab it was created, even if it is the same URL. So like if we had a session storage variable stored, and then you open up a new tab in the same URL and everything, it would not be able to access that. And I'm not actually sure why that is. And similar to local storage, session storage is also stored on your computer, and it also varies from your operating system to your browser. And how do you use local storage? There's three fundamental methods: the setItem, getItem, and removeItem. And these three methods are pretty much all you need to know to be able to use local storage. And one of the other ones is the .clear method, which clears all the variables stored in local storage. And here's some examples. So this one right here, we're setting an item. The variable name would be first, and then the value is hello world. And in this one, we can access it, just use it by getting the get item, and you have to put the exact key value that you put in when you stored it. And to remove it, you just use the .remove, and you do the same key value. And so for session storage, it's very similar. You have the same three main methods: setItem, getItem, and removeItem. And the clear method also works with session storage. So the only difference is you use session storage instead of local storage. And all three of those do the same exact thing, except for the variable first is now declared in session storage instead of local storage. So now we're going to talk a little more about each method. And just a note, I may reference just one, or local storage or session storage, but they work the exact same for both. So just know that whatever I show actually works for both. So the .clear method. And so we're kind of going backwards because this is the last one you'd use, but we'll discuss this one first. And so this one is actually the reason why I had picked this topic, because I had thought that people were using it wrong, but in my studies I actually realized that I was wrong. And I had been thinking that when you use clear, it clears everything in local storage, and this is partially true. When you store things with local storage and session storage, it does it by URL and stuff, and so the .clear only clears it for that domain. And so the setItem method, it's the most important, because if you didn't have this one, the other ones wouldn't do anything. And so the .setItem is not the only way that you can store values in your local storage. And then on the right we'll show them. And so local storage and session storage are in the JavaScript object notation, or JSON, and we can access the keys and values the same way as we would in the JavaScript object notation. So we could do LocalStorage.first, and that's just saying the variable first in local storage will be set to hello world, and then using the brackets around it. And this would be used, or would have to be used instead of the first one if you had like a space or a dash in between words. And then the setItem, which we already showed. And MDN says that it's best to use the .setItem because it helps prevent pitfalls with for declaring things, and things could get messed up in the declaring stuff. But I have a link at the end for more information on that. And so now the getItem method, and it's the second most important, because if you store something, it's kind of helpful to be able to access it. And just like with setItem, we don't have to use those methods, the .setItem or getItem, to access it. We can do it the same. We just do session or LocalStorage.first or SessionStorage.first, and with the brackets around it, and then that should be getItem. And so all of those would return hello world. That's only if we had declared it first, and if not, then it would return undefined. And so just remember that and that should be getItem as well. Just remember that getItem is the one you want to use because it's more reliable and safer. And so other web storage options, which web storage is the session storage and local storage, we can use the .key and .length. And the .key method allows you to access the key value at a certain index. So if we do localStorage.key and then in parentheses 0, it would be like in an array we're accessing the 0th index, which would be the first one. And so in our case, we would get the first in text. And so the .length just returns the number of values in local storage or session storage. And because in our examples we've only added 1, so we would just get 1, and that would return just 1. And so now I'm going to show you some examples. And so all these examples I have on my GitHub pages, and I'll provide a link for that so you can look at them too. So here's my GitHub pages for the examples. And so we have the local storage ones here and the session storage. So first, the first example will be storing and getting a value. So if we just store a value in here, say hello world, and we store value, then we can get value, and we see that it's there. And so if we refresh, it shows up as well. And this is the difference between local storage and session storage, is that we can close this window and open up a new one and it still shows, and we can even just open it in a different tab and it still will be there to be able to be accessed. And then for session storage, if we say the same thing and store it, if we get value, it shows up. If we refresh, it shows up. But if we close it and then open back up, it doesn't get anything. And so that doesn't work that way. But if we open it in a new tab and then store it here, we get it there, and then we can refresh it, we get it. We close it and then press Ctrl-Shift-T to reopen it, it shows up again. And so it has to be the same tab. So like if we open up another one, it doesn't show up because it's stored under this tab. And so this one is monitoring values, and so here we can do the key name. So we can say first name Jacob. Actually, when you click this, it will remove that. You just say first name Jacob, last name Hornbeck, and we can say something like other and say local storage is cool. And if we store values, that will store first name, last name, and other to what we have over here. And if we get values, we see this right here. And this is the one that we had stored before in the previous example, and so it hasn't been cleared, so it still exists. And so one thing to notice is the order doesn't, there isn't really a specific order. It's not alphabetical. It's not the order it was put in, and so you just have to know what the key value is to access it. You can't just always know which index the key is. And so again, if we close that and open it back up, it shows all those. We can open it in a new tab and we see all of them there still. And we can even add another one. See, school is BYU I store value, and then we see that it's now in here as well. And so for session storage, and it won't, like, nothing will be in here, but if we store those same things, first name Jacob, last name Hornbeck, and other session storage is cool. Store values, and then we see that we get them there. Refresh, still there. But if we close it and open it back up, nothing's there. And this one is for actually managing all of them. And so we have we see all the ones that are stored here. This button right here would remove the item with that key name, and so if we click that, it goes away, and so if we refresh get items, it's not there anymore. And this one right here would clear all the items in local storage. And so if we do that, get items, there's nothing in there. And if we refresh, still nothing. So then we'd have to add more into local storage to see them. And then for session storage, because there's nothing in there, it won't show. So we have to add them again. And there they are. And again, this one would delete the one with the value of first, and this one other, and this would clear it all. And the methods are the same, just like we showed. And so if we delete that, it still shows those. It's still on the refresh. And so if you're using live server, it will actually show. Live server uses a session storage item. I don't remember what it's called, but as long as you don't set one as that, you should be fine. And they have it pretty long, so I don't think you'd be using that key name. And so those are the examples I have. And then just to look at one, this one is for the this is for the last local storage example. No, that's session storage, sorry. This one is. And so, like this one right here, this is the function that's called when the button was clicked and it removes the element, or removes the element, and it removes it from local storage as well. And this one, LocalStorage.clear. And again, this right here, we could do local storage. You might not for remove. That one can only be done. Like this one right here. No, where is it? No, I can't see it. Well, I guess it wouldn't be in this one. But yeah, those. So you can. Here's the references, and I'll post the links to all of these that I used. And this one is my presentation examples, and that's it. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I can see what I can do to answer your questions. Thank you.